So today I'm going to be showing you how to use the quadratic formula to solve quadratic equations. And to use this first, the equation needs to be in the standard form, which is the one you can see on the screen right now. So basically something x squared plus something x plus a constant equals 0. And using the quadratic formula, you'll basically just find out which values of x will make this equation true. So which values of x will make the equation equal to 0. I'll put the quadratic formula on the screen right now. As you can see, it's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. A is the coefficient in front of the x squared term, so for the one on screen it's just 1. B is the coefficient in front of the x term, so 6 in this case. And c is the constant. So let's have a go plugging the numbers from our equation into the quadratic formula. So we have negative 6, because b is 6, plus or minus the square root of 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 5 all over 2 times 1. As you can see, the equation has a plus or minus in it, so we're going to need to calculate it twice, once using the plus and once using the minus, and this should give us up to 2 solutions. So first doing negative 6 plus root 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 5 over 2 times 1. You should get x equals negative 1. And next doing negative 6 minus root 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 5 over 2. You should get x equals negative 5. Okay, here's another example. 2x squared minus 7x plus 3 equals 0. Remember, the coefficient in front of x squared is a. The coefficient in front of x is b. And the constant at the end is c. So let's just quickly write out the quadratic formula so you can remember it. Minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And one important thing to remember, just remember that b isn't 7, it's negative 7, because we have minus 7x. So if we want to solve this, it equals minus negative 7 plus or minus root negative 7 squared minus 4 times 2 times 3 all over 2 times 2. And if you calculate that for both the plus and the minus, the two solutions you should get are x equals 3 and x equals 1 over 2. So for this quadratic to equal 0, x needs to equal either 3 or 1 over 2. Okay, here's one final challenge question. I know we said that the quadratic formula only works for quadratic equations, but see if you can figure out a way to use the quadratic equation to work out the cubic that I have on the screen. So the way to approach this problem is to take out a factor of x and turn it into x times 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. So now instead of having a cubic, we have x multiplied by a quadratic. So we know one solution to the equation is x equals 0, because if we multiply the whole thing by 0, then obviously the whole equation is going to equal 0. And then we can just use the quadratic formula on the quadratic part of the equation, because if that equals 0, then the whole thing will equal 0 as well. So this one's actually going to have 3 solutions, because it has the 2 solutions to the quadratic, plus the x equals 0 solution. So for this question, we can see that a equals 3, b equals 5, and c equals -2. And plugging that into the quadratic formula, we just have -5 plus or minus root 5 squared minus 4 times 3 times -2 all over 2 times 3. And the two solutions we should get from that are x equals 1 over 3 and x equals -2. So this equation equals 0 when x equals 0, or x equals a third, or x equals -2. And that's really all there is to it. So the quadratic formula is just a formula that lets you find the solutions to a quadratic that equals 0. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comments and I'll try to help you.